What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some interesting news. As Cuban star boxer, WBA, World Boxing Association, welterweight world champion, Yordenis Ugas, 27 wins, 4 losses, no draws, 12 wins by way of knockout. He's 35 years of age, 5'9", with a 69-inch arm reach. With that said, Yordenis Ugas is going into a massive unification showdown with undefeated, unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer ERROL the True Spence Jr., April 16th, Arlington, Texas, AT&T Dallas Cowboys Stadium. With that said, ERROL Spence Jr. is considered to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. ERROL Spence Jr. is 27 wins, no losses, no draw, 21 wins by way of knockout. He is 31 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. Okay, so this is 3 belts will be on the line, and the Ring Magazine belt will be on the line. With that said, news broke yesterday that undefeated, rising welterweight superstar title contender Jaron "Boots" Ennis, 28 wins, no losses, no draws, 26 wins big wins by way of knockout. He's 24 years of age, 5'10", with a 74-inch arm reach, will be facing off against another undefeated fighter in rising welterweight superstar or star title contender in CUSTIO Clayton. Okay, it's undefeated. CUSTIO Clayton, 19 wins, no losses, 1 draw, 12 wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age. He's from Canada, 5'9" with a 69.5-inch arm reach. Okay, so that Jaron "Boots" Ennis and CUSTIO Clayton, they will be squaring off against one another April 9th. Okay, location still to be determined. Okay, so but the IBF, the International Boxing Federation, and Daryl Peebles, President Daryl Peebles, have decided to make CUSTIO Clayton versus Jaron "Boots" Ennis a title eliminator. Okay, so the winner of this fight will be facing off against the winner of ERROL Spence Yordenis Ugas April 16th bout. So they'll be fighting a week later. ERROL Spence and Jaron and Yordenis Ugas will be fighting a week after CUSTIO Clayton and Jaron "Boots" Ennis, and it'll be for a title eliminator, as Jaron "Boots" Ennis is ranked number 1 in the IBF ranking system. Okay, you got ERROL Spence as the champion. You have Jaron Ennis at number 1. At 2 is undefeated rising Mexican superstar title contender Vergil Ortiz Jr., who's 18 wins, no losses, no draws, 18 wins by way of knockout. He is 24 years of age, 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach. He's at number 2, and then you have CUSTIO Clayton at 3. So Jaron Ennis is number 1. He's fighting the number 3 guy in the ranking system, and Vergil Ortiz is fighting the number 3 guy in the WBO rankings, and Michael McKinson. Okay, so with that said, the IBF has made this a title eliminator, and so obviously everybody is very high on Jaron "Boots" Ennis. Okay, and his talents and his skill set. He's able to switch from southpaw to orthodox. He's big. He's strong. He has a lot of speed, a lot of athletic ability, and so obviously everybody's calling to see Jaron "Boots" Ennis' skill set against the best and the champions in the division, and so it started to pick up a lot of traction yesterday when this was announced that he'll be the mandatory challenger for ERROL Spence Jr. Okay, and so Yordenis Ugas responds to this, and he takes it as somebody who is he's being overlooked. Okay, he's taking it as being slighted. Okay, initially, already this past weekend, he stated that he guarantees victory over ERROL Spence for his country, for Cuba, and he stated that he has a lot of pressure on him. He agreed with another legend, a Cuban legend, icon, Hall of Famer, in Joel Casamayor, who stated that he does very well. He's great against southpaws, and that ERROL Spence would be an easy fight for him. Yordenis Ugas, he attests to this. He said that ERROL Spence will be an easy fight. The toughest fight he had is outside the ring. Dealing with the issues he have. He has a he has a disease where it takes his hair away. He can't keep his hair. He has a son that's dealing with autism. So he stated that his toughest battles are outside the ring, and he's a legend in the sport of boxing for Cuba. And he does great against southpaws. Errol Spence is a southpaw, so he loves his chances, and he's going to shock the world just like he did against legendary 8 division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, August 21st of 2021, when he shocked the world, defeating Manny Pacquiao via unanimous decision. Okay, so he stated that he's going to do the same thing when it comes to Errol Spence Jr. Okay, and so now he stated he's responding to Jaron Boots Ennis, and he's calling out Jaron Boots Ennis, and he says, look at his resume. Who has he fought? He's getting a lot of high praise, but who has he fought? He's attested to himself. He stated that he's already established. Okay, he has some big fights in his career. He fought Shawn Porter. Many people thought he beat Shawn Porter. He fought Manny Pacquiao. He's fought some big names in the sport of boxing, and he feels like he can definitely put his resume up against the best out there. Okay. And so with that said, Yordenis Ugas, he says that Jaron Ennis needs to fight somebody. Okay. He stated that, Jaron Ennis, he needs to, face off against better opposition. Okay. Then he stated that, Jaron Ennis is fighting a guy in CUSTIO Clayton. And then he highlighted CUSTIO Clayton and says, no offense, but who is this guy? I don't have no idea who CUSTIO Clayton is. Okay. This is what he stated. So, he's fought the likes of, Mike Dallas Jr., Omar Figueroa, Shawn Porter, and he fought a guy who's very close to Jaron Boots Ennis, a guy that's in Jaron Ennis' stable, and that's Ray Robinson. Okay, Ray Robinson has 24 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, 12 wins by way of knockout. One time in his career, he was knocked out. He's a southpaw, 5'10" with a 78-inch arm reach. Okay, and so he TKO'd Ray Robinson back in 2018, February of 2018, in the 7th round. Yordenis Ugas TKO'd Ray Robinson. Okay, and so he feels like he's a big southpaw. Ray Robinson was a big southpaw. Manny Pacquiao's a southpaw, and he does great against those guys. And so he beat undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terrence Bud Crawford. 38 wins, no loss, no draw, 29 wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. So Yordenis Ugas beat Terrence Crawford in the amateurs. So he's saying that he could stack up his resume with the best of them. And Jaron Ennis is fighting guys he never heard of. Okay, he beat Jaron Ennis's stablemate, like I said, in Ray Robinson. He stopped him in 2018 in the 7th round. So he's saying, who is this guy, CUSTIO Clayton? I never heard of CUSTIO Clayton. I don't know who he is. And Jaron Ennis needs to fight better opposition before we start crowning him. This is not a shocker, because we heard the same sentiments come from 2-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter is now retired, 31 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 17 wins by way of knockout. One time in his career, he was stopped, 34 years of age, 5'7" with a 69-inch arm reach. His last fight was against Terrence Bud Crawford, November 20th, where he was TKO'd in the 10th round, dropped twice and ultimately TKO'd. He's fought the best in the world. He's actually fought March of 2019. He fought Yordenis Ugas and won a split decision again. There's people that thought that Yordenis Ugas should have gotten a nod. But recently, Shawn Porter, he stated that he feels like Jaron Boots Ennis is being overrated. He's overrated, and that, the fans are overstating him, and they're not being realistic with how they're viewing Yordenis Ugas, and he needs to prove it against some world champions, some better opposition. Well, Yordenis Ugas has uttered similar sentiments now that Shawn Porter has uttered, okay? But initially, Shawn Porter is the one that stated that Jaron Boots Ennis is Roy Jones Jr. 2.0. He stated that he would never get in the ring with Jaron Ennis because his skill set, his youth, his hunger. He said, unless I was forced to get in the ring with Jaron Ennis, I'm never getting in the ring with Jaron Ennis, okay? He says Jaron Ennis has everything to beat everybody at the top. The only 2 guys he sees that could compete and beat him is Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. So that's high praise coming from Sean Porter. But then he did a 360 and said that he's overrated. Okay, so now you have Yordenis Ugas saying that he feels like, Jaron Ennis needs to prove himself, and then we can find out who he is. Okay, stop crowning your Jaron Ennis, and he's fighting a guy in CUSTIO Clayton I never heard of. So CUSTIO Clayton is a very good fighter. Okay, CUSTIO Clayton, he has a draw on his resume in which I thought he personally won the fight. Ironically, it was against Sergey Lipinets, who I thought he beat Sergey Lipinets in that fight. And I thought that, the draw on his resume wasn't suffice. I thought he clearly won that fight, but they gave him a draw, and then in the next fight, Sergey Lipinets gets knocked out by Jaron Boots Ennis. So, and CUSTIO Clayton, his last fight was December of 2021. He got a UD against Cameron Creel, and so this is a big fight for Jaron Ennis. CUSTIO Clayton has a lot of skills, a lot of talent, and a lot of people, you can compare CUSTIO Clayton to Yordenis Ugas as far as his professional career. He kind of flies under the radar, okay? Yordenis Ugas has 4 losses on his resume, okay? And, he feels like some are unjust. But he's saying that Jaron Ennis needs to fight somebody worth note. But it's hard to fight somebody worth note when guys are not eager or willing to get in the ring. He wants to fight guys like Virgil Ortiz Jr., who's ranked #1. He won't fight him, okay? He's looking to fight guys that are coming up or world champions or former world champions. They just refusing to fight him. So how could he possibly prove himself if nobody's giving him the opportunity? The chips fell in place for Yordenis Ugas, and he's getting his opportunity, and he's taking and making the best of it. So let's see how this unfolds. But skillful-wise and talent-wise, when you compare Yordenis Ugas to Jaron Boots Ennis, there's really no comparison as far as raw skill and talent goes between the two. Now, Yordenis Ugas is very skilled. He's very talented. He comes from that Cuban school of boxing. He's very technically sound, has a beautiful jab, 1-2, but he doesn't have a lot of power and doesn't have a lot of athletic ability. He's big with a great technical skills. And yes, he's giving Southpaws a lot of problems, but Errol Spence is going to present a whole different level of problems. So Yordenis Ugas, if he loses this fight and doesn't get stopped, doesn't get knocked out, but loses on the cards, well, let's see Yordenis Ugas, because everybody's going to clamor for the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, which is going to be Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. And seeing as though now Terrence Crawford is a network promotional free agent after stopping Sean Porter November 20th and parting ways from longtime promoter, top-ranked legendary promoter and CEO Bob Arum and ESPN, and now he can fight whomever and wherever he wants to. Everybody's going to expect to see Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. So Yordenis Ugas, he don't get stopped, and he don't get dominated in a fight, and he's somewhat competitive, but loses on the cards. Well, then let's see Yordenis Ugas versus Jaron Boots Ennis as the co-main event to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Let's see that. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all in one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.